The unexpected transmission. The vast emptiness of space stretched before Captain Ryder Novak like an infinite canvas of darkness, punctuated by distant starlight. The celestial horizon, a sleek interstellar transport vessel, hummed softly as it glided through the cosmic void, carrying a modest shipment of rare minerals from the outer mining colonies. Ryder had spent the last decade of his life traversing the galactic trading routes, a solitary existence that suited his temperament. At 38, he was a seasoned space navigator, weathered by countless missions and long periods of isolation. His lean frame, marked by a few strategic cybernetic augmentations, spoke of a life lived on the edge of human exploration. The ship's communication system crackled unexpectedly, breaking the monotonous silence. Ryder's cybernetic implant, a slim neural interface running along his temple, flickered with an incoming transmission. Most signals in this sector were automated navigational beacons or routine cargo updates, but something about this transmission felt different. Unidentified vessel, this is Zura Kelrin of the Luminary Collective. A desperate voice cut through the static. The language was unfamiliar, but the universal translation matrix in Ryder's implant immediately processed the words. Our civilization is on the brink of extinction. We require immediate assistance for a mission of critical importance. Ritter's hand hovered over the communication console. In his years of space travel, he had learned that unsolicited transmissions were often traps or elaborate scams designed to lure unsuspecting traders into dangerous situations. The vast criminal networks that operated between star systems were notorious for such tactics. Yet, something in the voice, a blend of desperation and hope, caught his attention. The transmission continued, revealing fragments of a dire situation. The Luminary, an advanced alien civilization, faced a threat that could potentially eradicate their entire species. They were searching for a specific type of intervention, a mission so complex and dangerous that they were willing to offer unprecedented compensation. We seek a navigator with unique capabilities. The transmission continued. Someone who can navigate the quantum drift zones and penetrate the obsidian barrier. Our survival depends on finding a specific individual with the skills to rescue our last hope. Ritter's cybernetic implant began analyzing the transmission's origin, running complex algorithms to verify its authenticity. Most such signals would have been immediately classified as potential threats, but this one seemed to bypass standard security protocols with an almost organic intelligence. The ship's advanced scanning systems detected unusual energy signatures accompanying the transmission, quantum fluctuations that defied standard physical laws. Whatever was happening was far beyond a typical distress call. If you accept this mission, the transmission concluded, we offer not just wealth beyond human comprehension, but the opportunity to alter the course of galactic civilization. Will you listen to our story? Ryder leaned back in his command chair, the soft blue light of the navigation console casting shadows across his weathered face. Years of space travel had taught him to be cautious, to weigh every opportunity against potential risks. This transmission was different. It felt like a moment that could change everything. His fingers traced the interface, accessing the transmission's deeper layers. Encrypted data streams began to unravel, revealing glimpses of a civilization on the brink of collapse, of a mission that could reshape the understanding of life itself. The celestial horizon continued its silent journey through space, waiting for its captain's decision. One transmission had the potential to transform an ordinary cargo run into an extraordinary adventure that could determine the fate of entire civilizations. Ryder Novak took a deep breath. The universe had just presented him with an impossible offer. The perilous journey begins. The decision to engage with the Luminary transmission weighed heavily on Ryder's mind. Within hours of receiving the initial communication, a secure data packet had been uploaded to the Celestial Horizon's primary computer system. The packet contained intricate star charts, quantum navigation coordinates, and a series of encrypted mission parameters that would challenge even the most advanced space navigation systems. Ryder discovered that the mission was far more complex than a simple rescue operation. The luminary were seeking to preserve something far more valuable than a single life. They were fighting to protect the collective consciousness of their entire species. The Obsidian Barrier, a treacherous region of space characterized by extreme quantum instabilities, held the key to their survival. Preparing for the mission required extensive modifications to the celestial horizon. Ryder spent 3 standard cycles upgrading the ship's quantum stabilization systems, reinforcing the hull with exotic matter shielding, and recalibrating the navigation computer to handle the extreme dimensional fluctuations they would encounter. His first challenge came from the navigation itself. The coordinates provided by the luminary defied conventional spacetime understanding. Traditional navigation systems would be rendered useless within moments of entering the Obsidian Barrier. Ryder would need to rely on a combination of advanced predictive algorithms and his own intuitive understanding of quantum mechanics. The ship's computer, an AI named ARIA, Advanced Responsive Intelligence Assistant, continuously ran simulations of their potential route. Each iteration revealed new layers of complexity. Captain ARIA's holographic interface materialized beside Ryder. The probability of successful navigation is currently at 12.6%. The quantum drift zones will require constant manual recalibration. Ryder understood the risks. The Obsidian Barrier was more than just a region of space. It was a cosmic anomaly that had swallowed countless exploration vessels. Ships that entered rarely returned, and those that did were often completely transformed. Their crews changed in ways beyond comprehension. Gathering supplies proved to be its own challenge. Standard galactic trade routes wouldn't provide the specialized equipment needed for this mission. Ryder made contact with a network of independent traders, carefully selecting components that could withstand extreme quantum stress. Each transaction required careful negotiation and substantial resources. His final preparation involved a series of personal modifications. Ryder underwent an advanced quantum sync medical procedure, allowing his neural pathways to better interface with the ship's quantum navigation systems. The procedure was experimental and painful, requiring him to spend several days in a regenerative suspension chamber. As the celestial horizon prepared to depart, Ryder reflected on the magnitude of the mission. The luminary had been deliberately vague about the specific nature of their crisis. All he knew was that something of immense importance was hidden within the Obsidian Barrier, something that could potentially save or destroy entire civilizations. The final countdown began. ARIA's interface glowed with a soft blue light, running final system checks. Quantum drive at 98% stability. The AI reported. Navigational systems are synchronized. We are prepared for dimensional transition. Ritter's hand hovered over the primary navigation control. With a deep breath, he activated the quantum drive. The ship's external sensors began to warp and distort as they approached the edge of known space. The comfortable familiarity of standard spacetime began to dissolve, replaced by a reality that defied conventional understanding. The Obsidian Barrier awaited, a cosmic challenge that would test the limits of human capability and technological innovation. Ryder Novak had undertaken missions before, but nothing could prepare him for what lay ahead. As the celestial horizon began its quantum transition, the universe seemed to hold its breath. Navigating alien territories. The moment the celestial horizon crossed into the Obsidian Barrier was unlike anything Ryder had ever experienced. Reality itself seemed to twist and fragment. Colors that had no right existing in the visible spectrum danced across the ship's view screens. ARIA's holographic interface flickered, struggling to maintain coherence in the extreme quantum environment. Structural integrity at 67%. The AI reported, its usually calm voice now tinged with what almost sounded like uncertainty. Quantum drift increasing exponentially. The ship trembled as if caught in an invisible storm. Outside the viewports, space was no longer a simple canvas of stars and darkness. Instead, it became a living, breathing entity. Layers of reality folding and unfolding, revealing glimpses of impossible geometries and landscapes that defied fundamental laws of physics. Ryder's neural interface burned with intense feedback. The quantum sync procedure he'd undergone was the only thing preventing his mind from fragmenting under the extreme dimensional stress. Memories and potential futures flickered through his consciousness, parallel versions of himself experiencing countless different outcomes simultaneously. A sudden energy surge caught his attention. On the primary scanning array, a massive quantum signature began to take shape. It wasn't a typical energy reading. This was something alive, something intelligent. The luminary transmission began to make more sense now. Whatever they were protecting was no ordinary object or being. Incoming quantum transmission, Araya announced. The communication was unlike anything Ryder had seen before. Not a traditional signal, but a complex tapestry of information that seemed to bypass standard communication protocols. Images, emotions, and fragmented memories began to coalesce in Ryder's mind. Fragments of the luminary's history emerged. He saw a civilization that had once spanned multiple dimensions, capable of manipulating reality itself. But something had gone terribly wrong. A catastrophic event, a dimensional collapse, had reduced them to a mere shadow of their former power. The mission he was undertaking was their last hope of survival. The ship's quantum stabilizers began to fail. Each moment in the obsidian barrier was a battle against complete disintegration. Ryder's hands moved with superhuman speed, making micro-adjustments that kept the celestial horizon from being torn apart by dimensional stress. A massive quantum surge erupted directly in their path. Araya's warning systems blared, but Ryder was already moving. With an almost intuitive understanding, he redirected power, creating a quantum resonance field that would allow them to ride the energy wave rather than be destroyed by it. For a moment, everything went silent. When perception returned, the celestial horizon found itself in a region of space that defied all known understanding. Floating around them were massive crystalline structures, each one a living repository of information, memories, and potential futures. These were the archives the luminary had spoken of, the collective consciousness of their entire civilization, preserved in a state between existence and non-existence. "We are close," a voice echoed through Ryder's neural interface. It wasn't Araya. It wasn't even a traditional communication. The voice seemed to emerge from the fabric of space itself, a collective consciousness reaching out. The true nature of the mission was becoming clear. This was more than a rescue. This was a preservation of an entire civilization's legacy, a last-ditch effort to prevent complete extinction. Ryder Novak realized he was no longer just a space navigator. He had become something more. A potential savior of an entire species, standing at the precipice of a cosmic mystery that could reshape understanding of life, consciousness, and the very nature of reality. The celestial horizon drifted among the crystalline archives, waiting for the next phase of their impossible journey. The crystalline archives pulsed with an ethereal light, each structure a complex ecosystem of stored memories and potential futures. Ryder understood now that these weren't just data repositories. They were living entities, fragments of an entire civilization compressed into quantum states of existence. Araya's systems began to decode the complex quantum signatures. "Captain," the AI reported, "these archives contain more than historical data. They appear to be genetic blueprints, cultural memories, and potential evolutionary pathways for the luminary civilization." A sudden disturbance rippled through the dimensional space. Dark energy signatures began to converge around the archives. Something was hunting them. The peaceful preservation moment shattered as multiple quantum signatures emerged, each one a threat designed to destroy the last remnants of the luminary civilization. "Quantum predators," Araya warned. "Unknown classification. They appear to be dimensional parasites feeding on concentrated consciousness." Ryder realized the true complexity of the mission. The luminary hadn't just asked him to rescue something. They needed him to protect these living archives from entities that existed between dimensions, creatures that consumed consciousness like a form of cosmic sustenance. The first wave of attacks came as reality-warping energy pulses, The celestial horizon's quantum shields flickered, struggling to maintain integrity. Ryder's neural interface burned with intense feedback, forcing him to make split-second calculations that balanced chip survival with archive protection. Preparing quantum defensive protocols, Araya announced. But Ryder knew standard defensive mechanisms would be useless against beings that existed outside conventional physical laws. Instead, he began to manipulate the ship's quantum field, creating a resonance pattern that would disrupt the predatory entities. It was like playing a complex musical instrument where each note could potentially unravel or preserve entire dimensional ecosystems. The battle wasn't just external. Ryder found himself fighting within multiple layers of reality simultaneously. His consciousness split, managing ship systems, defending against quantum predators, and maintaining connection with the luminary archives. One of the crystalline structures began to communicate directly with him, not through language, but through a complex transmission of emotional and historical data. He saw the rise and fall of the luminary civilization, their technological achievements, their near extinction, and the desperate plan that brought him to this moment. The quantum predators were more than simple threats. They were ancient beings that consumed civilizational consciousness, feeding on the potential energy of entire species. The luminary archives represented an unprecedented feast, a complete genetic and cultural blueprint of an advanced civilization. We chose you because of your unique quantum potential, the collective consciousness transmitted. Your ability to exist in multiple potential states makes you our best defense. Ryder understood now. He wasn't just a navigator or a rescuer. He was a quantum firewall, a living shield designed to protect the last remnants of a dying civilization. The battle reached its crescendo. Quantum energy erupted around the celestial horizon, creating patterns of destruction and preservation that no scientific instrument could fully comprehend. Ryder's neural interface pushed beyond its designed limits, becoming a bridge between human capability and multidimensional defense. With a final, massive quantum surge, the predatory entities were pushed back, not destroyed, but redirected, forced into alternative dimensional pathways. Silence descended. The crystalline archives continued to pulse, now secured but still vulnerable. Ryder Novak had survived, but the mission was far from over. Redemption and transformation. The aftermath of the quantum battle left Ryder in a state between exhaustion and transcendence. The celestial horizon systems were barely functional, its hull scarred by dimensional interactions that defied conventional understanding. Araya's holographic interface flickered intermittently, struggling to maintain cohesion. The luminary archives continued to pulse with a soft, living light, no longer under immediate threat, but still requiring protection. Ryder realized that his role had fundamentally changed. He was no longer just a space navigator, but a guardian of an entire civilization's legacy. Quantum stabilization complete, Araya finally reported, its voice returning to normal. Preliminary analysis suggests we have preserved 97.3% of the luminary collective consciousness. Communication with the archives began to clarify the full scope of their mission. The luminary hadn't simply been trying to preserve their history. They were seeking a way to rebirth their civilization. The quantum predators had been more than just a threat. They were a symptom of a larger cosmic problem that threatened multiple dimensional realities. Ryder discovered that he had been fundamentally changed by the experience. His neural interfaces had evolved, creating new pathways of understanding that extended beyond human limitations. Memories and potential futures intertwined within his consciousness, giving him glimpses of realities that existed simultaneously. The crystalline archives began to transform. What had once been static repositories of information started to reconfigure, using the quantum energy of the battle and Ryder's unique quantum signature as a catalyst for regeneration. It was as if the very essence of the luminary civilization was finding a new way to exist. We offer you a choice, the collective consciousness transmitted. The communication was no longer just informational. It was a profound, almost spiritual connection. Become our bridge to other civilizations, or return to your previous existence. The offer was more complex than a simple decision. To accept meant becoming something beyond human, a living conduit between different dimensional realities, a guardian of cosmic knowledge. To refuse meant returning to the relatively simple life of a space navigator, with the knowledge that he had saved an entire civilization. As Ryder contemplated the decision, the celestial horizon began to undergo its own transformation. The ship's systems integrated with the luminary archives, creating a hybrid vessel that was part technology, part living consciousness. Aria's interface changed, becoming more fluid, more alive. The ship is no longer just a vessel, the AI reported. We have become something more. The quantum predators had been more than just a threat. They were a catalyst for evolution. The luminary civilization would not simply be preserved. They would be reborn through this unexpected alliance between a human navigator and their collective consciousness. In the vast emptiness of space, surrounded by crystalline archives and transformed technology, Ryder Novak faced the most important decision of his life. A choice that would not just affect him, but potentially reshape the understanding of consciousness, civilization, and existence itself. The universe held its breath, waiting for his answer. The journey that began with an unexpected transmission was about to reach its ultimate conclusion.